Hey guys, it's Tim with Tabletop Terrors. I'm actually responding to Matt Click's tagging of me. These are 5 RPG related things that you probably didn't know about me. I also have to tag some people, which is difficult. This is like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge because there are people who've already been tagged and so on. So I'm just going to ride with it, and if you've done one, you're off the hook. But let me think. The 5 people that I want to tag: 1, James Kearney of Tabletop Terrors. 2, if you're still around, if you're still out there, one of my inspirations for making videos in the first place, and Matt's, I tag Dungeon Master Johnny, DMJ. 3, I am a big fan of your videos. T the Writer, Tony from T the Writer. I would love to see you do a 5 video. Don't know if that's your thing or if you'd be interested. 4, I would like to hear, I'm thinking Chepe Le Pepe, Fauntrodden. I would love to hear your 5 unknown facts, buddy. I can't wait to see how far that well goes. And then I'm going to nominate 2 more people. I'm cheating. 5, SR2 Joker. Should be Andrew Knapp. And then 6, Lloyd. Sweet Lloyd of Ireland. I want to see your 5. And again, if you know, I don't know, if I've tagged extra people or if I'm taking people from tagging, I don't know. I would love to hear from all you guys. In fact, if I could tag everyone in the community, I would right now. But all right, on to the facts. So the first one I'm actually going to start with is, it's a little different than the order I was originally going to do it, but this one's probably the most important to me. Tabletop Terrors and how it started. A lot of people don't know that I started Tabletop Terrors with James because when my daughter was born, she is what was called tongue-tied. What that means is that the inside of her gums here and here, they're hyper-connected so that she can't separate her lips from her gums. The problem was that is considered cosmetic. Part of it was considered medical, but part of it was considered cosmetic. There was a whole long thing. The bottom line is our insurance really wasn't going to cover it. And we didn't have the money. It was an expensive surgery that we had to drive across the state for. So if you dig on Reddit, and Don, you know, and a couple of the other people, Tabletop Terror started as RPG stuff for hire. It was, I'll write you an adventure. Whatever. I was up for whatever. And so that's kind of another long story as to how it all transpired and everything. But the bottom line is that tabletop RPGs, DandD specifically, paid for my daughter to have that surgery. And the surgery would have impaired her eating ability, which would have meant she would have had trouble gaining weight, speech impediments, things like that. Lifelong ones if you let it develop. So that's the first thing you probably don't know, is that Tabletop Terrors actually started as a freelance company specifically to do D&D work for hire to pay for my daughter's surgery. Little known RPG fact number 2. I played a game of D&D with Gary Gygax. But it's way better than that. I didn't know who he was, and I thought he did a bad job running the game. Hear me out. This is little known. It's like a big gaming store. It's more for tabletop minis and it's called Sci-Fi City, or it used to be called Enterprise 1701 here in Orlando. And they had Gary Gygax running a game. And so they were basically asking for volunteers, and this was, it was kind of when 3.0 was coming out. I think the timeline's a little muddy, but basically it was him, and then there were 2 other people, and then they asked for not a volunteer to play. They basically on the spot asked us to come up with something. I don't remember, but basically they were like, come up with an interesting concept for a fighter. I don't remember the exact thing. I just remember that I have a big mouth. I'm not afraid to talk. I'm loud. And I'm pretty good on my feet. So I stepped out of the crowd and I basically said something, pulled something out of my rear end that they thought was cool. So they let me sit and play. Of course, I realize now it was because I thought I knew everything. I really didn't know the game very well. 3.0 was pretty new. Looking back, he actually was doing an excellent job of immersive, kind of fun play for an impromptu group. I just know that I was a hot-headed, impetuous young person who was wanting everything to be much more slick and cool, and like I was into the Spawn comic books. It was just your classic cliche-loving, teenager, and basically the things he was doing, they were subtle, they were interesting, but I was expecting like more pizzazz and flash and but yes. So second little known RPG fact, I actually played a game of Dungeons and Dragons with Gary Gygax, but it was before I knew who he was or why that was important. Little known D&D fact number 3. My parents, when I was growing up, they thought that D&D was evil. And so, especially because the era that they grew up in, that was a hot button at one point. So, when the third edition came out, I remember I was buying some of the books and everything, and I want to make this clear. They had the best intentions. They genuinely thought that there was a dark presence trying to foul me up. To them, their main thing was, hey, we believe that Satan is very real, and if there's any doorway that he can get into your mind and heart and so on. So, but there was a lot of friction because I knew I wanted to do this. I knew I wanted to play, and I was trying to explain to people that the game is whatever you want to make it. It doesn't have to be evil. And at my table, it's not evil. It's fun. It's, just between friends, we're making up stories. But, and James can attest to this too. There were just a lot of times where I would have to go to a friend's house because my parents wouldn't let us play at our house, which was odd because I was the DM and we were all still we were finishing high school or still in our senior year of high school and stuff. So there wasn't really a place we could go for a chunk of hours and play. It became interesting. And so that is another fact, is that my parents genuinely thought that D&D was evil. And so I had to sort of hide it and do it behind their back for a long time. Now they play with us. They understand it now. Things have changed quite a bit, and I think they understand it. But it was an interesting thing growing up, especially because in Matt's video he points out how he played with his family. So very different dynamic for me and for James. Okay, so here's another one I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for, and probably some invitations to play in some games, but I have never played, this is fact number 4, I have never played, to my knowledge, I have never played a game of tabletop role-playing not using some sort of Dungeons & Dragons system. So I've never played Fate or Fate Core or GURPS. I don't even know if there's a difference between Fate and Fate Core. I've never played any of the Star Wars stuff. I've never played, I don't know, name it. I haven't done it. Numenera. I haven't done any of that stuff. I'm not opposed to that. And you guys are going to see some of that in our relaunch that's coming here in May. But D&D was always the system that I had access to. And, it's not easy to learn a new system. And let me be clearer about that. It's not easy to learn a new system when you're basically the guy who's telling everybody else the rules. We have our family, the group that I play with here, it's beer and pretzel. So you kind of have to walk them through it. It's not an easy challenge to grab a book and learn the system well enough to basically play for 5 people for the first few sessions. It's not easy for me anyway, and I don't really have the time. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm super interested in all those systems. I know Matt, Barker, Juice, these guys, they've played plenty of systems before. If you go to the Tabletop RPG one-shot group, Chepe, that guy, he knows more systems. Him, Lloyd, I mean, I could keep going. These guys know multiple systems, and they can spout off rules like this. I am not in a position to do that. I do eventually want to do that someday, but fact number 4 is I've never played a tabletop RPG outside of Dungeons & Dragons, some sort of edition of that game. All right, here's the 5th and final RPG fact, like little known fact about me. The Provokers is the first game that I've ever role-played in. It's the first serious campaign I've ever played. My entire life, I am usually the dungeon master. And I trade out with James occasionally. We have, but we play with our family, and they are mostly beer and pretzel gamers. It's very relaxed. It's a lot of fun, but there's 0 roleplay. There's -1 roleplay. We have a good time, but when Matt asked me to play in the Provokers, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. And I had the Scottish accent, kind of like, oh, I'm going to be a dwarf, I think. But I was super nervous. I didn't know what Durgan was going to be like exactly, but I just knew that I wanted to do that. So the first time ever in my life that I have role-played, as far as on a tabletop RPG game, because I've done like some minor local like stage plays like for my church and nothing fancy, but I've never done anything like the Provokers. So for me, people ask, like, well, how do you practice and how do you do it? Honestly, I literally make it up as I go along, but that is the Provokers, first time I've ever role played and first serious campaign that I've ever played in consecutively. And just to kind of echo some of the stuff that Matt said, the Provokers they've become some of my best friends. And so I encourage you, if you're listening, if you're watching this, join the YouTube RPG Brigade, join the Tabletop one-shot group, the RPG Tabletop one-shot group. Juice is going to kill me, I'm not plugging it right. But basically, find those 2 communities on Facebook. Just do a search for them, because they're full of really good people. And it's tough to find a group of gamers that will let you just game the way you want to. And there are enough people on both of those groups or both of those communities on Facebook where you can find people that you otherwise wouldn't be able to find. So I accredit it a lot to the group, basically giving me the platform to role play and to have fun and still play a semi-serious campaign. I say semi-serious because we still cut up. But yeah, so that is that's my final fact. Fact number 5. I've never role played before the Provokers, and I've never played in a serious campaign. So bonus fact. This is the first time I've ever filmed a YouTube RPG video in front of a bookcase full of geeky stuff. So I did that on purpose because I thought, well, there's a fun fact. I've never done that before. Thanks for watching. Look for the Tabletop Terrors relaunch. It's coming in May, first week of May. We're really excited about it, and we're just trying to make our resources sharper and just, pour more out into the community. We love you guys. Like this video, share it, subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Oh, and I don't have any theme music. Tabletop Terrors, Tabletop